Thanks, everybody, and thanks for coming tonight. And we have our next piece of our budget, which is our capital plan. It's always exciting to look at the capital stuff. So I'll call the meeting to order and disclose is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Has anybody got anything on this agenda? I don't see any, so that's okay. So moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Deputy Mayor Turton, that the resolution moving council and the committee of the whole to consider 2021 capital budget. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay. And okay, did I get that all right, Annalee? That was good. Okay, I've just turned my page. Here was another piece there. Reports of committees, town staff, matters tabled and motions for which notice has been previously given. So my introductions, I sort of did that already. Thanks for coming to the budget meeting. This is our second step, and our next step will be having an open house virtually on the 8th or 9th, is it? I think it's on the 8th. Not sure. Yeah, the 8th. Okay, and that'll be interesting as well. So no further ado, I'll introduce our CAO, Derek Thompson, and our treasurer, Gord Duff, to present the capital budget. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Good to see you all. I'm wondering, Matt, if we could get the slide deck up. There we go. So again, this is, as the mayor has mentioned, this is the second of 3 nights we have planned for the 2021 budget. As you know, our theme this year is laying the foundation for economic recovery. And our 3 quotes, I won't go through those again, but they're there for you to see and get a little bit of insight as to how we're feeling. If we go to the next slide. So again, this is day 2, and of course we had a bit of an introduction from the mayor. You'll have one from myself, and then our treasurer Duff will go through the presentation with the details, and then we can have a conversation around questions, and then hopefully we can end the meeting. And then our next meeting will be our public open house, which will be on Tuesday, December the 8th. As the mayor has indicated, it's a little different this year, so we will be doing it virtually. So we'll go from there. So again, you know, no surprise. This is our vision and our mission for the town of Minto. And as I said in our earlier presentation, I can't find a better fitting mission that we want to try to accomplish given the times that we're in right now. So on that note, it's my pleasure to hand it over now to Treasurer Duff, and he'll take you through the rest of the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Derek. So this slide will look quite familiar, but we thought it's even more relevant for this presentation. So as we know, we spend a lot of time on our asset management plan, and it's what drives the services that we deliver to our residents and visitors too. So just a bit of context, in a perfect world, we'd be spending $8.8 million on capital replacement, and we're coming in just over half of that right now. So that's kind of the context that we're at, but we believe it's sufficient to do what we have to do in the coming year. So we'll just do a review of what we have pretty much accomplished in the past year. So our largest project by far was the Arthur Street East in Harriston connecting Link and the related Lawrence Street. So that was a bit of underground servicing, but mainly road reconstruction. And I think we're all very happy to be driving on it after a summer of detours, and it looks great. I think it really improves the entrance coming from the east to Harriston. One of our local developers is in the midst of kind of constructing a large subdivision, and the first thing we had to do was make sure that services were in place. So for Henry and Victoria Street, almost all the servicing is complete, and we're ready for the next phases of development there. And I know the very patient residents of Clifford Ad Street, we completed all the paving on that this year too. We had quite a bit of computer work. We installed the new server, and that installation went pretty seamlessly. And due to basically a Microsoft requirement phasing out anything pre-Windows 10, we had to upgrade several of our desktop workstations and laptops. Several of the small wastewater replacement we're doing. Nothing huge, a lot of study and design work to do larger projects in the future. We replaced a couple of pickup trucks for our water and wastewater departments. We upgraded the senior station in Harriston, and that was probably good because it's now serving a very vital public health role as the Minto COVID test center. We took advantage of the shutdown and we installed air conditioning and some other upgrades at the Norrigan Theatre and the Palmerston Industrial Park service extensions, again to service development that is pretty much here or coming soon, and that's all done. So we had a busy year in 2020, and that's pretty much wound down. Now, a high level look at 2021. Again, total is 4.7 million in capital expenditures at this point, and as needed, the public works, mostly road projects, do dominate, and this is a relatively quiet year. So there's such a backlog of work to do in that department. It tends to drive things. The biggest change, again, as we indicated in our operating presentation, is instead of recreation, we're grouping community services, which is not just recreation, but it's also the after-school programs and related things like that into that. Fire and emergency, again, vehicles, some more work on the Clifford station, and some various other ones. And we'll go through these in more detail as we proceed. And where's the money coming from? Well, here's where it is. We have a little bit of DC, and if you recall, DC's basically work on growth-related projects, so we don't have quite as many this year, so we have a little bit coming from there. Tax base is other reserves that are basically not the water and wastewater reserves. Non-tax, that is the water and wastewater reserves. Subsidies and grants, so again, we have some confirmed funding, some yet to be confirmed, and we'll go through that in detail too. And our $900,000 contribution from operating, again, that's unchanged from the previous year. And here's a breakdown of all the grants. We have the annual $10,000 accessibility grant from the county, and we've taken advantage of that in almost every year for the past. We're hopeful of the Arthur Street West Connecting Link project, which council approved the application not very long ago. And again, because there's not a lot of underground work, that's basically a 90% funded project. The ICIP, that is the long remembered Brunswick Street Bridge Culvert project. So we do hope to get that actually underway this year. We've had a lot of administrative work to do in the lead up, but we're hopeful it'll go through this year. Federal gas tax, again, have not heard anything about that amount changing. So we get roughly, I think, like 242,000. So 153,000 goes to service debt for projects completed in previous years, which only leaves us with 89,000, and that goes to road projects. The RED, or Rural Economic Development Fund, that's a project which we started in 2020. We'll complete this year. It's mostly downtown streetscape enhancements, and we'll have some more, furniture and Wi-Fi and those things. This is one COVID-19 funding. This is also under the ICIP. It is application based. This is the amount that we will receive if our application is successful. And that application will be going in later in December. OCIF, or the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, again, I think I mentioned before, we know the project will continue, but we're not sure of the exact nature. And so best we can do, we put the same amount as last year and allocated the way we think it'll go. And we're always set to revise if we have to. So next one, and this is a good slide that kind of lays it in context. Again, we're not proposing any new borrowing this year. So when we don't do that, we basically pay down about $1 million in external debt every year. And then we've tried to maintain our reserves too. So we're anticipating there's some large projects, especially White's Road and Palmerston, and a little ways off, I think in 2027 is the latest, a redevelopment of downtown Palmerston, and that will be, again, a very big project. So, and then there's other grants where sometimes we have to come up with our share, and we will borrow if we need to for that. So anyway, that's a picture of where we're looking to be at in the next year. And then our reserves and reserve funds, so that's a bit of continuity. Where we started the year, 11.7 million. We're putting in basically 1.9 and taking out roughly the same amount, a little more, some for operating and some for capital, and ending the year roughly where we began. There will still be some investment and interest income on the 21 balances yet to come. It'll be pretty modest this year as investment returns are small, but it will be positive. And that's good. And so now we'll get into the individual departments. So like the operating budget, we'll have the department heads come up and go through it in a little bit more detail. I previously thought admin would come in very low this year, but we have two servers that are they're working very hard. We replaced the last one in 2020. This server is the one that supports a lot of our remote workers, which of course we're doing a lot of this year, plus a bit more of our regular computer replacement. We try and do them roughly every 4 years or so. And a little bit of a provision there for capital asset software and other kinds of upgrades and minor furniture and equipment. So in total, the admin ask is about 77,000. So if Terry is around, we'll ask him to join and talk about building and bylaw.
So the only item for my capital budget would be a new pickup truck, and this would be for the new deputy CBO position. We are looking at our vehicle fleet within the building department, and we're going to see once everyone's all up to speed whether or not we actually need that vehicle. But in case we do, then I added that to the budget.
Thank you, Terry. And now for a bit longer presentation, we'll have Matt Lubers to talk about community services.
Thank you, Gord, and good evening, Council. I just have to stop sharing the presentation for a second so I can refer to my Excel sheet with all of my notes. So as you can see, one of our more exciting projects we have proposed for next year is to build a multi-use sports pad in Harriston. Couple of locations we've got identified. It will be something very similar to what you see in Palmerston by the pool. It would be sort of like a tarmac surface, a couple of ball hockey courts, a couple of basketball courts, and pickleball as well. That was the one thing that, with the rec master plan process from January to when it shut down in March, We heard there was quite a bit of demand for some sort of outdoor opportunity in Harriston, as well as some opportunity for outdoor pickleball. Currently, 100% of our offerings for that program are indoors, which is great this time of the year. But given our current circumstances and when the weather gets nicer, it would be great to offer even more programming opportunities outside. Then with respect to the rest of what's on the list, we have a couple of small projects for each of the 3 arenas, ranging from a new front door at the Clifford Arena for accessibility. That would be funded 100% through the County of Wellington grant. We're looking at LED lighting. We've got basically one building left. That's the Clifford Arena. That's over the ice surface or the arena floor. All of our other buildings and facilities have been converted to LED lighting, and it's definitely better. The metal halide is not as efficient, and parts are hard to get these days. We're looking at picking up a new to us vehicle from Public Works, just to phase out one of our F-250s. Looking at upgrading some of the water features at the splash pad with some contribution from the Palmerston Lions Club. There are a couple of features that we had to remove. They were damaged, and we're looking at replacing those, as well as upgrading some of the controllers, the things that you don't see that make it functional. We are looking at an electric edger for the Palmerston Arena. It's a little bit nicer. We have a gas one there currently, but it's less than ideal when you want to get some ice maintenance done before you have renters coming in. And the technology's gotten a lot better with the battery powered edgers. So looking at doing that. We've also got some money from the Shriners through the Lions Club to put an accessible swing into the playground at Heritage Park. So it'll be nice that the intent of that is for it to be fully accessible. And then lastly, Palmerston Arena, the compressors, we're looking at rebuilding the bottom ends. Top end was done about 10 years ago, and that's just to extend the longevity of both of those. Any questions?
All right. Looks like Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Matt, the compressors, are we still working with Mr. Doig?
Yes, Jim's our licensed refrigeration mechanic. He's the one that goes through all the protocols to fire them up for the season and to shut them down.
Mark?
Yeah, thank you. Matt, some of the items, will we go ahead anyway and do them, or will we wait for the master plan to dictate what's needed and what isn't?
Through a lot of these items, a couple you could potentially wait for the master plan. A lot of it is just replacing existing features and equipment and structures. The sports pad we put in there just because we had a lot of traction for it right before the COVID hit. We had a couple of groups that had expressed interest, so that was one that we feel confident moving forward on. 2022, that might be the year where you see a lot of items being asked or put in the budget as a result of the plan concluding in 21.
So it's possible that some of the facilities may not be used as much at that time. And just if we're spending capital on them now and it maybe wasn't needed in a year from now, does that make sense or not?
The way that we've got things set up now, you may find that our facilities are being used for different purposes in the future, but I still see that there would be a need, like for example, the LED lighting in Clifford. If things go well, if things return to some sort of normal, we'd love nothing more than to put ice back into the arena there. That said, if that's not the case, then we're still going to we don't want to basically lock the door and throw away the key. We would have all other programming in there, and it would require lighting, obviously. So the only thing I could see is the curling header trench in Harriston. That's not something that we have to do right away. Hypothetically speaking, if there is no curling, or if there's no foreseeable curling come October, there wouldn't be any point to doing that this year. That one might be a wait and see. We're not going to rush out and do that one right away, but I'm really fingers crossed that we return to some form of normal.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mark. And Councillor Anderson, did you have your hand up, or no? Good. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. And yeah, as you can see, a lot of the community projects are basically keeping our existing assets in a state of good repair, ready to go there. So Belinda, I know she's on. We'll go through economic development.
Evening, everyone. So I'll be brief. For economic development, obviously our budget request is just over 200,000 this year, and a large component of that is paving Noble Family Road in the industrial park. So it will be built out next year with 4 businesses located on that road. So we'd like to get that paved next year for them. The other highlights will be, as Gord mentioned, our RED funding. Obligations, so next year that includes entrance sign enhancements. It includes railway Christmas lights in Heritage Park. Also, there's like 2 other projects. Wayfinding signage for public parking are all included in those. So this was our big year for RED funding, and then next year some smaller projects. And the other thing I want to highlight is we are looking at doing downtown Wi-Fi. This was something we had looked at including in our RED funding application, but the price at that time was way more than what we have come forward with now. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Center Wellington and their telecom group for meeting with us on multiple occasions to look at this opportunity for our downtowns, and it's really excellent price at under 25,000. The quote that we have right now to put Wi-Fi in all 3 of our downtowns. So I'm excited to be able to put that request forward this year. And then just continued streetscape stuff, and we have some money in there for fixing up any public art. So we invest in public art every year, and then we need to make sure that it's maintained. So we do have some money in there to continue to maintain our public art pieces. So. If there's any questions?
I can't see anybody, so.
Looks like the deputy mayor.
Deputy Mayor, okay. All right, and then Jeff, and then Ron. Okay, go ahead.
Mayor Bridge, Belinda, the 91 for the industrial park, is that just asphalt?
That's paving on Noble Family Road, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, I think you're up next.
Yep, thanks, George. Belinda, so what's the cost of the Wi-Fi moving forward after everything's installed? Like, what's a yearly fee for that?
I asked that. It's very minimal. So we already have, where the Wi-Fi is going is at the Norgan Theatre, the Lions Clubhouse building, the Town Hall Theatre, and then we would work with one of the businesses in Clifford that has a good location downtown. So it's very minimal, he said. He didn't have a official price for me, but it's not a lot because we already have connections in most of those locations. So it's not a big deal. And I know in case anyone asks, there was concerns expressed about tenants like downtown that would be tapping into Wi-Fi. We're able to keep an eye on that, and if people are abusing, they get kicked off, like they can be banned from the system. And Wi-Fi is being touted as like, for going into the future, something that downtowns need to be successful. It allows users that are downtown, shoppers, visitors, to interact and share kind of like they're generating the content on social media for you. So it's a great investment in terms of promoting our communities and our businesses broader. So
Thank you. I just wondered if it was going to reach my house, that's all.
You'll be cut off, Jeff. That's
no,
what she said.
no, it would not. It'd basically go from the lights in Harriston down to Miller Insurance. So it would reach Eric Cox. And in Clifford, it's like the main kind of hub, that one block. And then in Palmerston, the great news there is we can get from the Norgan Theater down to the Lions Clubhouse and then most of the way through the park, which is awesome because then people can share and post all those great pictures of the Lions Heritage Park and the museum and the market and all that. So the quote we had last year was over $100,000, which is why we decided not to proceed with that last year, despite possibly putting it in a red grant. So for our quote to come in under 25,000 this year is really exciting.
And Ron, I think you had your hand up. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Belinda, I never, this wasn't part of my question. I got two now. How do you police that? Like, you're going to have renters probably get free use of, that are all on Main Street. Will they not get free use of that Wi-Fi?
No, that was one of our concerns, and you're able to, like, on the back end, so I don't know all the technical stuff, but on the back end you're able to monitor that and they get kicked off, like they get kicked off and banned, right? So if I was like a tenant downtown and I'm on there all the time, and they're able to see that on the back end and can pull off. So it really, and you're also able to gather a lot of data when people are signing in as well. So it's all really, really helpful. And they assure me that they do this in Center, Wellington, and Ferguson, Elora, and they assure me that there's a way that people can't manipulate the system or abuse it.
Okay. Second part of my question is $90K for paving the road. Why is that going against economic development? Then I can't remember you ever paving any roads.
Yep. I think we have in the past, haven't we, Gord?
Yes, that's right. That's right. We've traditionally assessed all the development of servicing the industrial parks into economic development, even though there is roads, water, and wastewater components, but we've traditionally shown that in the economic. And that's where we put, like, when we sell a lot, it goes right back in. So it kind of gets reinvested in that.
So if you pave the parking lot, that's why you put it against rec, and parking lot at the arena, that would go against rec, that kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's right.
Thanks, Ron. Anybody else? Nope. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
I
Linda.
think Chief Harrow, if we're going to do the fire next.
You're up next. Is he here? I don't see.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, for our budget's pretty simple next year. We'd like to get started and do the Clifford renovation project. This is renovating the Clifford Fire Hall to come up to modern standards. So right now, presently, we have no showers in there. So for part of our decontamination, that we need to get some showers. And this is renovating the part that we've never really had. When it was the old nursery school, and before that, when it was the old municipal office. So there's still a concrete vault in there that's kind of useless to us that we're going to remove, and just renovating that whole space so that it can become a bunker gear room to take our gear off the floor beside the trucks and put it in a proper ventilated room. And as I said, putting in a proper washroom facility. And then also included in that now is the we're going to put all new steel in that on the outside, because the building's been the municipal office switched to a nursery school, and that the steel is leaking a lot, and we're getting a lot of leaks inside, and it's wrecked a bunch of drywall at different times. So one of the things we're going to do is put new steel on the outside and make it match the library behind it, so that that section of Clifford in that corner is kind of spruced up and looks good, as kind of our area that we identified a few years ago as kind of the four corners that we wanted to make look good with the new park and the new ball diamond and all that stuff. So that's part of that. And then we also have for possibly buying another used tanker. We're still looking into that and the feasibility of that for a second one, so that can start updating our fleet. in a more cost-effective way. And then the usual bunker gear and hose that we replace little bits every year. And that's our capital.
Questions? Deputy Mayor Turk.
Mayor Bridge, Chris, how long has that Clifford upgrade been on the books? I mean, we talked about that for 10 years, haven't we?
Yeah, we've talked about it for ever since the nursery school moved out. We've talked about it, and we've never done anything in that area. But it's looks like it's fun. We've got pricing. We've got it finally quoted down to know exactly what it's going to cost, and all the local contractors have been in and done stuff with it, which is really cool too. So working with all the local guys that can help us out.
Yeah, well done, Chris. It's been a long time coming, and that will finish up. I think all three of our facilities will look really good when that gets done.
Yeah, externally they're all going to look really, really well, and internally for the most part, there'd just be one last bunker gear. We need to do something with storage of bunker gear in Palmerston, but that's in the future that we're still working on that down the line. But yeah, right. And I think that'll look really good for that area of Clifford. Having that building be similar to what the library looks like will really really spruce up that area of Clifford for sure.
Jean, did you have a question?
I do. It's not about this year's ask, but looking ahead on this forecast, we've got self-contained breathing apparatus at 600,000 2 years from now. Is there a reason we don't spread some of that over every year, or is there? And it's repeated again 2 years after that.
Another 6. Oh, it's not supposed to be repeated again 2 years. Just we have to buy it once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the total, I thought we were doing it again. I'm thinking, what are we doing here?
No, just one time. And it's a great question. That's one of like most of our bunker gear in that we buy so many sets a year. With our breathing apparatus, we have to buy it now all at once because to have some on old style and some on new style, new bottles won't fit on old packs and that. So, and everybody has their own mask now because of just hygiene and all that kind of stuff. So it's a project now you have to do all at once. You can't phase that one in because of the biggest thing is we have what are called half-hour air bottles now, and everybody new technology is 45-minute bottles. So the bottles are not interchangeable between the air packs. So our
of course
work. Yeah, exactly. Of course.
Just like medical equipment.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as soon as they tie medical or fire to it, that the price goes up. So, so yeah, that's unfortunately a project we're gonna have to do all at once.
Do we put money into reserves, a portion towards that cost when we know it's coming up? Such a large item.
Absolutely. The money that we've been putting away in reserves every year out of operating, we should be able to accomplish that project all out of reserves.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, Dean, I think we've been building reserves for that.
Yeah, because that's a huge item.
It is a huge item, and it's got just because of the technology of them with decontamination and all that kind of stuff, and not breathing in the cancer causing smoke and particulate. That technology itself outside of trucks has skyrocketed. It's crazy.
And Chris, am I right? And go ahead, Jean.
So is there a chance of working in collaboration with some of these partnerships so that you've got bigger departments? Can you get a better price?
Absolutely. So one of the things we've already done through this partnership is we've scheduled Wellington North to do theirs at the exact same time.
Right.
And another thing we're looking at is right now we carry 104 air bottles. They carry 102. So we could probably knock that down, that we don't have to carry them, and they're about $1,800 per bottle. So that's a significant savings too if we can cut air bottles and share between the two of us. So another huge savings.
I just think it'd be one of those purchases to have it standardized across all of the departments. If you're working together, that would be a good opportunity for maybe some savings, because 5 years from now it's all going to be changed again. It'll all have to be repurchased because the gauges won't work, or the fittings won't fit, or the whatever.
Yeah. Nope. That is definitely the first one of the first purchases.
Jumped off the page.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big amount.
Go ahead,
and Councillor Anderson, that second 600,000, that's the total of the 4 years. So that's
got it now. Yeah. So
And we bumped up our total reserves for fire to 240,000. It was 218. So, like Chief Harold usually does a very good job of smoothing out the reserves and the fire. And this is, as you noted, it's like equivalent of an aerial truck almost. So
Yeah.
we're trying to do it for business.
But just on your note, Gene, that was one of the reasons. Remember when we talked about the synergies and how we're going to save by doing these partnerships? That was one of the things we saw coming. And I know Chris had talked about that. So good to pick it up. It is the thing that we need to do for sure. Anne-Lee?
For you, Mayor Bridge, CAO Thompson is looking to speak.
Well, where is he?
He's probably not showing on your video, so he's down below you on my video. So.
He's in his basement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to tag on a little bit to Councillor Anderson's question around allocating funds over a period of time. So right now, Minto does a 5-year capital forecast. Typically, the norm is a 10-year capital forecast so that you can start forecasting out to match your DC allocations, because your DC bylaw is taken over historical values over 10 years. So we will be moving towards a 10-year capital forecast. Ideally, we'd like to have gotten it done this year, but it's that, was pretty aggressive. So, but I think for 2021's 2022 capital budget, I think you're going to see a 10-year capital forecast that will show allocations over time to be able to smooth out those big items. So we are working on that. So I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. Thanks.
And on that, the county has gone to a 10-year now as well. So that gives you an idea. So we've been working on that for this year is the first year I think we've actually put it out. Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. So Chris, none of the old breathing apparatuses are of any value. Nobody uses them anymore. They're just basically garbage.
Correct. The aluminum bottles, we're one of the last departments to use aluminum bottles, which I'm sure Councillor Gunson could attest to, are about 25 to 30 pounds heavier than the new bottles that are out there. So nobody wants that technology or that weight anymore. So the bottles will probably go to scrap is usually what they end up doing.
So you'll be able to recruit smaller people, less.
Correct. Or older, out of shape people like myself that can actually put it on.
Nobody out of shape. Come on. All righty. Anything else on? Okay, moving on.
So our next section, they're also related. We're going to talk about public works, water, and wastewater, and then we'll lead into some informative maps. So we'll get Mike and Todd and Mark to come on board, and we'll go through their projects.
Okay, thanks. The first item for myself is Arthur Street West project. The funding is still currently unknown, but we will be moving forward with that if we are successful. Brunswick Street, the culvert replacement, we have received that funding, so we're currently we're in the design stage and hope to tender this project early in 2021. 12th line, this has been an ongoing project here as well. Approvals kind of put a snag into things this year with the replacement of the culvert there. We have everything in line to move forward with it, and the guide rail installations on that project in 2021. Sidewalks and various road projects, the asphalt component, that will be another report that will come back to council with some options for your consideration for the different projects in the different communities. And then vehicle replacement has a new F-150 for Public Works, the current one going to the rec department, a 250 turning into a like a 550 or a 2-ton dump body truck to better serve the TLC component of our of Public Works, as well as help out with snow removal in the off season as well. And then one other item there would be the replacement of our service truck. with our current service truck going to the fire department if they choose to do so as part of our overall plan.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Turk.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Like the Minto Normanby town line structure ABC, going to spend some money on that, on our portion of that road over the next 3 years at 55. Is that engineering?
Actually, that is the replacement of the one structure as part of a municipal drain upgrade. So that's actually taking care of the one structure. So I'm kind of happy with the price that came in on that. That's our assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bonus that came in on that municipal drain thing because we weren't able to.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep. Councilor McKenzie.
Yeah, thanks. Mike, is that, will there be any resurfacing on that road in the next little while or next couple of years, or what's happening out
Well,
there?
the idea would be to replace the structure. The two other ones, if we can do minor repairs to them, or maybe at the least add guide rail to them and then resurface it. Yeah.
Right up to where?
It'd be the whole thing from County Road 3 right to, was that County Road 1, I guess.
Up to Gray Road, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
And Mark, on that, that's the one we've been working on with West Gray, right?
Yeah. For 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, but I did talk to the mayor of West Gray the other day, and she's really happy that our municipalities are working together on some of these road things. And I think, Mike, you've got a good relationship with the roads guy now. And
yep.
So
yep.
hopefully, Mark. And be nice if we were going to do this. If you don't, maybe you don't remember, but we had a grant in for this and it got chopped on us, so we never got it through. So maybe if the government start coming up with some more money for restart and more infrastructure, this might get fast tracked a little farther. It's faster. So that'd be one that we would be ready to go with. Would we not, Mike?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully Normanby gets in on this.
Yeah, well, that would be. Yeah, but we're actually having good communications with them, though, Mark. It's working. We're working well with them.
Good.
Anything else? Nice to see that. Nice to see that 12th line being done. It's been a while coming, but we managed to patch it and get it through. Even this last little while, where we got a lot of more pounding on it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It'd be nice to finish it up because there's some scary spots there, Mike. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
With those bends. Okay.
Right. Yeah, survived the detour. So we'll look at wastewater.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Probably no surprise to council to see I&I on the first line of the wastewater budget. It's been there for a while. And this year we're looking at doing a study in both Harriston and Palmerston, looking at all the work that we've done so far and what work there's to be done coming up, and how many reserve capacity units we think that we can achieve by doing that work. Along with that is 2 assimilative capacity studies in both Harriston and Palmerston. Those are studies that are done on the receiving bodies, like the Maitland River, where we discharge the effluent from the treatment facilities. And those studies basically tell us what quantity and the quality of water that we can discharge into the receiver. Those studies are step 1 if you want to do any sort of plant upgrade or change. Moving on to the next one, we have sludge mapping at the Harriston Lagoon. We've done this in the past. The purpose is to basically just figure out how much sludge we have in our biosolids that we have accumulating in the lagoons and at what rate it's accumulating. That way we can forecast when we'll need to clean it out. Palmerston wastewater treatment plant needs a new sampler, 24-hour composite sampler, as part of the new environmental compliance approval at the treatment facility that was actually implemented this week. Another project with council's consent would be the roadmap for the Palmerston wastewater treatment plant expansion. The purpose of this study done by Triton is to identify everything that we need to do for a treatment plant expansion in Palmerston and how we would be able to complete that. And the last item on the list is a general item. It's sewer main repairs for $100,000, and that's general spot repairs throughout all 3 systems, some lining in small spots, and manhole repairs. Any questions?
Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Mark, was it 12 years ago we cleaned the lagoon out in Harriston? 13?
Yeah, 2009, I believe.
2009
was the year. So yeah, we are accumulating, based on previous data we've collected, we're accumulating about 1,000 cubic meters annually. So we just want to make sure we're still on that track, and we can keep track of how much sludge is in there.
So if we're accumulating 1,000 annually, is that good for 20,000, 30 years? I guess that's why we're doing the testing, right?
Yep. Along with the testing, there's different options for cleaning out. The option that we chose in the last round was we did a full clean out where we removed all the aeration and fully cleaned out the cell. Another option is maybe to dredge. You bring a dredge in, you just lower the water level. It basically a big vacuum that vacuums out the sludge, dewaters it, and treats it in the same manner we did when we took it out of service. The benefit to one of those, to that style, is you can set a cap on how much you want to treat. Different options. I mean, we're looking into it now.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Todd there.
Evening, everyone. Water services this year, the highlights for us is water well video logs and upgrades. So we have a 10-year rotation where we go through our wells and actually pull them, send a camera down, have a look, clean them up. So we have 4 wells that are they're due to be done next year. We also have a well that needs some work, some maintenance done on it. Is included in that number. At Minto Pines. Also, the big one for next year that we're looking at is the overcoating of the Palmerston water tower. So the number you see there, that includes the painting of the exterior, but also as part of that process, you have to empty the tower. So while we had it empty, we would take a look at the interior, do a wash, and do any repairs in there that were required. And then next item that we have there is water main replacement and works basically between all 3 communities. The only on the other big item on the capital budget side is of course our SCADA panel upgrades. It's something that we've been working on for a couple of years now and we'll continue to work on, but we try to get a couple of panels done each year, keep moving ahead, and eventually get them all upgraded. Anybody has any questions?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
So Matt, maybe we can get into the maps and we can maybe get Mike or anyone that wishes to comment. So here's the village of Clifford.
Yeah, so the 4 maps that are going to come up through here just basically shows the easy parts to basically identify as paving. It's hard to show the areas where we've completed the sidewalks over the years and some of the other items, high dollar figure items that have been completed over the years. But like for an example, in Clifford, it's got the your connecting link paving project and Ann Street, and One of the items that is included on here would be like in the next 5 years, we're hoping to do Allen Street reconstruction, just the first block to tie into the well that's there for the water needs. The next map there, Harriston shows the Arthur Street connecting link, and then the various road paving projects throughout the community. Palmerston shows the water tower and with the star there. We threw the Noble Family Road paving project in there that Belinda's helping to fund, and the Brunswick Street structure there. We also show White's Road and Main Street reconstruction projects in there in the next 5 years, just can keep on the radar. And then the township. The township, you can see the various asphalt resurfacing projects that we've completed over the years, and the number of structures that we've actually replaced or rehabbed over the years, with two more being completed this year. This is kind of a unique year that we have 3 of our structures being replaced that we do our biannual OSM reports on, which a lot of times you'd be lucky to get one done in 5 years kind of thing. So we're very fortunate to have that. That's basically the maps.
Yeah. Questions on the maps, anybody? I think they're a nice visual, especially when you have the meeting. Unfortunately, the meeting will be virtual, but we'll have the maps there to show people just what we've done and what I know lots of people come up, well, lots of people, when we have a few people come up at the meeting and actually look at the maps, and it's nice to have those, Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. And we'll go back to the slide again. We're on number 18. There we are. So again, this is a high-level view of the way forward, at least for the next few years. So we're again anticipating the big project will be the White's Road in Palmerston, and that's why you see the spike in public works there. And again, a lot of projects that need done. If we have the funding, we'll do them all. That's always a challenge in municipal budgets, for sure. And then next one. So I can go through the capital forecast in detail, or if you'd like to refer again, as CEO Thompson mentioned, we're going to expand our view to 10 years, and that'll match our water wastewater requirements too. And in today's world, we have to think ahead, and especially at the rapid pace of growth that Minto fortunately has had the last few years, it's good to look ahead too at the big projects. So I believe you all had those slides mailed out, or so. We'll entertain any questions, and you know, particularly department head can speak to it. That would be great.
Okay, we kind of did them as we went through, but if any more questions, Councillor Elliott, go ahead.
Just a couple of things. I think they're just little technical things that I saw the HVAC at the Norgan was on there, and the Norgan pretty well paid for that out of the reserves that they made in profits that they made over the years too. So it really doesn't come out of any money that was raised through taxes, correct?
Right. This is more just showing the expenditure side,
not
regardless of the funding.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to make that clear that we weren't taking money and spending it. That was money that was raised. And yeah, I guess the red grant was the same thing. There was money donated towards that. So I want to make that clear that part of that was funded through that too, which is appreciated by our community.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I need.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Anybody else? No. Okay, well presented, Gord, and Derek. And thank your department for that, Gord. I know you have Mark working with you now.
Yeah, Mark's
and,
right here, and he's certainly done a lot of the work. And once again, we thank council for their attention and all the department heads, and it's always a team effort for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? And Councillor Elliott makes a good point. There's lots of our projects that we're doing. We do some of the funding, but some of the funding comes from other places as well, and we have a great community for that. And that's a good point he makes. All right. If there's no anything else, moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Anderson, that the committee of the whole convenes into regular council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Elliott, that the council of the town of Minto would, no, was that it? No.
That is correct.
Is that right? The
Yes.
council of town of Minto adjourns to meet again to call the mayor? I thought I was missing a point there, but I'm not. Okay. All in favor? Thanks, everybody. And again, have a good night and stay safe.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Eric.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Derek. Safe drive home, Derek.